Good evening, everyone. So I'm Jinal here, and today I'll be taking up a topic that is Zoho Projects. And Zoho Projects is basically application which is used for managing different projects under the single head. It is like Zoho Project is a cloud-based, project management tool. It is as good as we use Asana, Trello, ClickUp, different type of application, which helps the team to plan their own task, how to collaborate with different divisions or different sections of the organization, and how to effectively close their task. So when we talk about Zoho Projects, it offers us different tools. Like first is task management. When we talk about task management, when there is a big project, there are different small tasks. So when we want to assign one task to other team or other person, then it becomes very easy to assign the task, and that's where the Zoho project is very useful. Other is collaboration. Like there are some tasks in the organization which are interrelated, or these tasks are dependent on each other. So while the dependent task has to be finished at that time, collaboration is very much required, and we use Zoho projects for the same. Time tracking, like there are repetitive tasks or the task which has to be taken out every month or every week. So once you understand that this time is required, this much time is required for taking out for this particular task, then you can plan for the next month and the next week also. So time tracking is important aspect of project management. Then there is issue tracking, like every team who is into that particular project, working on that particular project, they will understand that what particular issue is there in the system, and because of which bug the things are not working properly, and try to resolve the issues immediately. Then there is automation, like all this works on the basis of automation. So the amount of time that we utilize on doing manual things reduces a lot. Then there is project dashboards, like a proper dashboard where different sections will be given, and you will be able to understand that what project is on what stage and what action items are there on you and other, your
ಇದೆ
colleagues
ಇದೆ
also.
ನನ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗಲ್ಲ.
Then there is integration. So integration in is as good as like collaboration. You can integrate with different, different applications which is used, or the softwares that are used in your organization. So Zoho Project has that facility also. Now, when we come to the advantages of Zoho project, there is number one, centralization of management. Sometimes what happens is it keeps the project information at a one place. Many a times, the scenario is one person is there, then he gives the instruction to other people, and somehow the information is lost that what at what stage your project is working. So at that time, this central management system helps you to understand that what you are supposed to do and what tasks are still in progress and what tasks are finished. Enhance the productivity, because you know that everything is automated and workflow is there in the system itself. You'll be able to automate all the things and enhance your productivity. Improve the collaboration, like you know who and which person is working on which task, so you don't have to roam around at every place and call everyone that who is doing this task, who is doing that task. With this project management tool, you will be able to understand that who is doing what work. So directly going for that issue, to that particular person, it becomes easy for you rather than wandering at different places. Cost effective, as I say, that scalable pricing and plans, it helps the small unit and even the large enterprise to customize their own projects. So features of Zoho projects are like issue tracking, task and milestones, different document management can also be done. Then time tracking, project forums, reports. You'll get a proper pie chart or the bar chart, whatever you have selected, and you can get it on your own screen and understand that, what is the progress of the project. There is calendar and meeting management also. Project chat is there. Project wiki is also there. Like you can identify and you can get the information on the concepts or whatever jargons that are used in that particular project. So previously what used to happen was there is one person, he will allocate work to two persons, and then there will be, delivery of the work. So this person who is sitting at the head, he is unaware of what is happening at the ground level or the bottom level. Now with the use of Zoho projects, At the single place, you'll be able to get all the information that which person is working on which department, which task, and you'll get the progress reports also. So it becomes very easy for each and everyone to understand the task, the barriers, or what is the issue that is happening in the organization. And so that will enhance the productivity at the end of the day. So this is create project. Like when you go to a proper website or the application homepage, you have to create a project in Zoho Projects, and then accordingly you can customize your own dashboard. Like here, I have taken ERP phase 4. Like what is a project name, then what type of template you want, how many days it will take to finish that particular project, and accordingly it will make or design your own dashboard. Now, when coming to pricing, there are three different pricing that a Zoho project gives. First of all, when you are using two projects and the number of users are less, only 3 users, then it is free of cost. But when we want to increase the number of users and number of projects are also more, then we have to pay 280 rupees. But when the small enterprises are using, like the number of users are more, the number of projects are also more, departments are more. At that time, it is better to go for proper enterprise package, which gives you a lot of benefits. Now I'll take you through the YouTube video, which explains you in detail how the Zoho project works.
If you're going to build a project from scratch each time, it's just going to take you a lot of time and effort. And so what we generally recommend doing is building out a robust set of templates that you can create projects from and then make additional edits to fit whatever you're working on.
Hi, Jira. We brought you here today to let you know that we made the business decision.
So to get started, the project templates actually live in a kind of interesting place. So if we go into projects over here on the left, this will give us a list of all of our active or completed projects, but it's also where the project templates live. So under the little drop down, we can pull up project templates. And from here, we can actually go ahead and start creating that template. So first, I'll just give it a name here. We'll call this a standard implementation. Give it a description. Down here, if we want to do anything around our budget or billing method, we can set that as the default for the project. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and create this, and we'll walk through kind of what comes next. So as we've created this project at first, we'll notice that it looks basically the same as if we were looking at an existing project. So it's got the same list of tabs up at the top with your dashboard, your tasks, your reporting, your documents, your milestones, and so on. The only difference is that it's not a real project yet. It's really just baseline for what will be a project later. And as we look at this page, kind of going left to right here, this is the order that we'll want to follow to set everything up. So a quick overview on milestones, task lists, and tasks. Basically, a milestone is a section of the project. It's really based on the timeline that we want to have completed within a particular duration. And so in this case, maybe if we're doing an implementation project, maybe our first milestone is doing a deep discovery. And we're going to start this 0 days after we start the project. This is the first thing that we're going to do. And we want this to take no more than 14 days to complete. Maybe it's a 2-week discovery process. We're going to have a series of stakeholder meetings and kind of move things from there. So I'll go ahead and create that milestone. And now we kind of are building our list. And so let's say I want to add one more milestone where we're going to do our development. And we'll say this is going to start after 14 days because we want to do our discovery first. And maybe this is going to take 30 days because it's a little more heavy lifting that needs to be done. So as we're creating our milestones, of course, we might want to rearrange where they are on the page. To do that here, we'll just go ahead and so now that I have these 2 milestones created, we might want to reorder them just to keep things clean. So over here on the right, this will be a common theme that we'll have this reorder button where we're able to determine which order we want to view these in. I like to see them top to bottom based on when we're going to start and when we're going to complete each milestone. And so the next layer of hierarchy here within a milestone is going to be a task list. So these are just kind of groupings of tasks that we want to complete together or that are related to each other. So maybe the first task list is going to be scheduling meetings. Maybe the next task list would be prepare scoping documents. And of course, you can go on and on from there, kind of additionally building out what these various task lists should look like. And so now that we've created kind of the key task list that would be part of this first milestone, it's time to start actually adding in the various tasks that we'll need to complete to get things done. And so what we can do there is actually jump over here to the tasks list, where now we're going to see these task lists that we've created nested underneath their relevant milestones. In this case, again, I'm going to quickly reorder these so that we have them kind of top to bottom in terms of the order that we want to do them in. And from here, we can start to build out our task list. And so in this case, maybe our first meeting would be schedule initial scoping meeting. Schedule a stakeholder meeting. And maybe we want to schedule our development kickoff meeting. And so with each of these various tasks, we can assign who the default owner should be. This can always be changed later, but when you create a project from this template, you'll want to have everything with a default owner. Any task without an owner is at risk of not really being done, as it's not going to get on anyone's list, right, if they're looking at tasks that are assigned to them. For each of our tasks, we can also assign a default start after. So in this case, maybe we're going to start after 0 days. Again, this is the first thing we want to do. Maybe we're assuming that it's going to take us about a day to work out the scheduling logistics. Again, with scheduling our stakeholder meeting, maybe we're going to do that after we've done the scoping, just to make sure they happen in the right order. So maybe this is going to start on day 1, and it's going to have also a duration of 1 day. And then we'll follow that same idea here for scheduling our development meeting. And now what you'll realize when you kind of build these out is that it's a living document. So as I'm looking at this project, maybe I think, you know what, maybe this task list should actually be just getting the meetings done, not just scheduling them. And so we can always go in and make edits to these task lists. So in this case, maybe I want to call this just initial meetings. And now I can add a little bit more color to this and say, execute initial scoping meeting, as well as our other meetings here that we need to have. Now, the important part about logging all of these tasks is that if you do plan on using this for time tracking later, even though it feels redundant to put a task in here just to execute a meeting, the advantage is that when someone has that meeting active, right, they can actually just check in if they're tracking time against it. They can take any notes that they need to take and keep things clean as far as the project goes. And as you're kind of working through all these various items to get things done. And so next, we're going to want to take a look at some of the baseline reports, and so that we can kind of see how this project template is going to look on a Gantt chart once we have everything done. So I'm going to go ahead offline here for a second and just fill in a whole bunch of tasks and start dates and due dates so that we can take a look at that. And so after this little cut, we'll have a bunch of tasks on the page. Alrighty, so now we've kind of built out the rest of our task list here, kind of walk through that we're going to execute these various meetings. And then we have our first task here in our second task list to prepare that operations document and then schedule a handoff meeting and execute that meeting. We've also built out our start after and our durations for all of these various tasks. So the last thing to kind of look at before we jump into the Gantt chart is planning out work hours. So work hours are kind of your estimated amount of time that you think things are going to take to get done. You can track it in either work hours per day, work percentage per day, or work hours just as a flat rate. I prefer generally to track things as just work hours. So maybe we want to go ahead and say, this is going to take in total about 15 minutes to plan that out. Maybe each of these we're going to assume total amount of time emailing back and forth, sending a booking link, getting things confirmed is about 15 minutes. And then any of our meetings that we're going to have, maybe it's a 1-hour meeting, but we're going to prepare at the end and wrap up once we're done. So maybe we assume these are all going to take about an hour and a half. Again, this stuff just gets important in the long run when you get into planning people's availability and workload, so you can make sure that people are not being overloaded. So we'll kind of go through and just quickly fill out the rest of these work hours, and then we can jump over to our reporting. So now that we have kind of some ballpark estimates of work hours, we'll jump into the Gantt and reports view. This is kind of where you make sure that the project is making sense, right? Based on the timelines that you have set and based on how things generally seem to go. And so over here on the left, we'll see each of our various tasks, how long we're going to wait to start them, and then the duration of those tasks. Here over on the right in our Gantt chart view, we have a rolling red bar here for our milestone. So we kind of want to look at our tasks here and go, okay, are we on track based on our estimations to actually complete this within the milestone timeframe? In this case, we are, but we can also look at this and go, we don't have a lot of wiggle room, right? So as you kind of build these out, you want to go back and forth and kind of adjust things and try to set some realistic goals and expectations to make sure that things are on track. And so what we'll see is, if we do want to make any adjustments here, like maybe we're looking at this task here and we notice, we're saying we're going to start this after 4 days, but really if possible, we'd love to get that done earlier. I can always just move this up on the Gantt chart and we'll see that the start after has adjusted accordingly, right? So I can kind of move these wherever I need them to go to kind of keep them in line. Now, of course, here we're looking at this would be like an absolute best case scenario, right? Everything is getting done the same day. We're booking things as soon as possible availability. There's kind of
LinkedIn is the place to be. Start advertising on the highest returning paid social platform.
There's kind of multiple methods to set up a project. You might want to set it up based on a best case and then move things around from there once the project gets started. The only other big section here to cover as we build out our templates is the document management piece. Within Zoho Projects, we can actually go ahead and create a template of what we would want our project to look like, including the documents and folders. So if I knew that I had a particular folder structure that I wanted to have for all of our files in any project in a particular template, I can actually go ahead and create some folders and create that structure ahead of time. So maybe we want a scoping document will go there, blueprints can have their own folder, and so on and so forth, right? So I've created a little child structure here, which would then copy into any future projects. One thing to also be aware of is if you create a spreadsheet baseline that you want to have as like a template spreadsheet or template document, you can actually load that into the template and it'll be included in any project that's created from this template. So kind of a nice little thing if you have like a pricing guide or anything like that that's going to come into play as you're working on things. You just load it into your template and then it's always there for you to use once you actually go ahead and spin up a project from this template.